The Mad Fictional Imagination Playhouse presents The Dragon's Requiem by Rhyan Scorpio-Rhys. In the golden light of the royal court, Eldred knelt before the king. The ceremonial sword tapped his shoulder, each touch a reminder of the burden he now bore. A knight's duty was honour, a knight's heart was steel. Eldred had trained for this moment, but as the spurs were fastened to his boots, he felt not pride, but a creeping weight in his chest. "The realm calls upon you," the king intoned, his voice a sonorous echo in the grand hall. "Rid us of the beast that haunts the forbidden forest. Do this, and your name will live forever." Eldred bowed, though the words felt hollow. The dragon was a legend, a spectre of fear and awe. To slay such a creature would prove his worth, but to whom? The forest swallowed him whole. For 3 moons, Eldred wandered its winding paths, his sword a cold comfort against the suffocating green. The trees whispered dark fates for foolish trespassers, and shadows danced menacingly just beyond the reach of his torchlight. It was on the 4th day, when exhaustion gnawed at his resolve, that he found something unexpected. A woman stood in a clearing, sunlight cascading through the canopy to gild her form. Her hair glinted like molten gold, and her eyes shone with an unnatural fire. She seemed a creature of dreams, too beautiful to belong to this world. "Are you lost, knight?" she asked, her voice a melody that wove through the trees. Eldred dismounted, his heart pounding. He should have questioned her presence, her purpose in this forbidden place. Instead, he found himself drawn forward, his sword slack in his grip. "I seek the dragon," he said, though the words felt distant as if spoken by someone else. She smiled, and the air between them shimmered like heat rising from a forge. "Then you have found her." The transformation was swift and terrible. The maiden fair's form twisted, golden hair replaced by gleaming scales, delicate hands by talons sharp enough to rend steel. She rose before him, a towering figure of power and frightening beauty, her emerald eyes now blazing with fire. Eldred stumbled back, his breath catching. The dragon loomed over him, and yet he could not raise his blade. The creature was no monster, no mindless beast. She was exquisite, terrible, alive. "Strike, knight," she said, her voice still rich with melody, though it now carried an edge of mockery. "Is that not your purpose?" He hesitated. This was his moment, his chance to prove his worth, to fulfill his oath. But the longer he stared into those piercing eyes, the more his resolve wavered. This creature was not what he had imagined. She was no mindless beast, but something ancient, intelligent, and impossibly beautiful. "I can't," he whispered, his voice breaking. The dragon lowered her head, her gaze softening. "And why is that?" "Because you are not what I was taught to hate." For a moment there was silence. Then the dragon shifted, her massive form shrinking back into that of the maiden. She stepped toward him, her movements slow and deliberate. "And yet you came to kill me." Eldred lowered his sword, the weight of his quest crushing him. "I didn't understand," he said, his voice barely audible. "And now?" she asked, standing before him once more, her hand reaching out to brush the edge of his blade. "I see you," he said. The sword slipped from his fingers, landing with a dull thud on the forest floor. Eldred returned to the kingdom not as a hero, but as a man changed. He spoke not of victory, but of truth, of the folly of fearing what we do not understand. And, though his name was not etched into the annals of legend, the tale of the knight who laid down his sword for the dragon who taught him to see lived on, whispered in the halls of power and the quiet of the woods. You have been watching the Mad Fictional Imagination Playhouse presentation of The Dragon's Requiem by Rhyan Scorpio-Rhys. If you enjoyed yourself, consider hitting like and subscribe, and ring the bell to receive notifications for when our next videos drop. Also, be kind enough to leave us a comment below, because we need to let the algorithm know this channel exists. Thanks for watching. Ciao, till next now.